Hello, YouTube community. It's Robert S., and welcome back to RobScure Music. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some more of my 45's. I realized I have not done a 45 video in quite some time, so here we are. I got about 10 or so that I'm going to show off and just talk about briefly. And we'll start with a 1971 song that I really like, and you may remember this one. Well, I don't know if you can see that too well. Do you know what I mean? Lee Michaels. So this was a top 10 hit for Lee, and it's basically a song about his girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend, I guess, cheating on him. And if you remember the lyrics, it's basically, her and Bobby was stepping out, do you know what I mean? And this song contains one of my favorite moments in any song. It's basically just a little part, and I'm trying to remember how it goes exactly. The lyrics are something like, she said, "You haven't loved me in 4 years. You haven't." Wait, how's it go? Lee, you haven't loved me in almost 4 years. You haven't noticed that I held back my tears. Now you have, but it's really too late. Better find yourself another girl. Better find yourself another girl. Better find yourself another place. Woo! And if you remember the song, that woo is just perfect. Anyway, so Lee Michaels, and actually Lee Michaels, in the 80s, he founded a restaurant in California called Killer Shrimp. And I think that's still operating today, if COVID didn't shut it down. But anyway, little side note. Next, keeping with the 70s, this I think was 75. Yes, actually it says right here, 75. And we did actually lose Gary Wright in August of this year, so I thought I'd show this single, Dreamweaver, which of course was his biggest #1 hit, I believe. And Gary Wright actually was on the George Harrison All Things Must Pass album. He played keyboards, and he also was in a group called Spooky Tooth, which I believe I've mentioned in one of my videos or shown something with Spooky Tooth, and he was in that group as well. And this actually is backed with a song called Let It Out, which is on the same album. If you're not familiar with it, this is also a fantastic song. I like the B-side almost as much as the A-side. The A-side, let's face it, Dreamweaver, what an incredible song. But Let It Out is also amazing. So if you get a chance, take a listen to that. Then we've got a song I'm sure many of you will be familiar with, Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. And of course, this was a big hit in the late 60s. I want to say 69, something like that, 68, 69, maybe 70. Somewhere in that area. Obviously, big hit for him, and big favorite of Boston Red Sox fans. So, you hear this song, and of course, everyone's got to sing along. Sweet Caroline. Ba-ba-da. Anyway, fantastic song, fantastic single. B-side is Dig In. Got a couple here. Then we'll go to Ain't Got No Home. Now we're going back a little bit more. This is on the Chess label. Clarence Frogman Henry. And Clarence Henry actually wrote this song, Ain't Got No Home. And he was given the nickname Frogman because of the I don't know if it was his voice generally, but the way he sang, it was that sort of deeper, croaky kind of vocal. And he actually, in the lyrics, he sings, something like, I sing like a frog, or I sound like a frog, something like that. So pretty fun record to listen to, actually. And the B-side of this is another fantastic song of his called Troubles. And you might be familiar with that. Again, both songs absolutely amazing. So, okay. Next up on United Artists label. What can I say about this? I mean, if you're into or looking for some kind of syrupy ballad that is going to really, tug at your heartstrings, what better syrup and song is there than Honey by Bobby Goldsboro? This song, it was a fantastic hit back in 68. Does it say it on here? Late 60s. I think it was 68. And actually, at the time, I was still a youngster, but my cousin, who was several years older than I am, came from overseas, from Europe, and she was staying with us, and she loved this song and played it over and over and over. And this is sort of etched into my memory. So thank you, Alka. Bobby Goldsboro, Honey. You know the song. You know the lyrics. You know the tears that accompany it. So enough said about that. And speaking of heartfelt songs, something that really tugs at you, we have now on Laurie Records, Abraham, Martin, and John. And this came out, I guess, around the same time as Honey, about 68, 69. And it's basically a song written as a tribute to, four great men that were assassinated: Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, and his brother Robert F. Kennedy. Absolutely amazing, really an incredible song. Robert F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King were assassinated around the same time, within months, like 2 or 3 months of each other. And the song was written, sort of after that. That's sort of what inspired the song. And actually, Robert F. Kennedy, who was I think he was campaigning for running for president at the time, he gave this sort of impromptu speech to essentially I think it was a black audience in Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. And rather than, the sort of campaign speech that people may have expected him to do, he announced to the crowd that Martin Luther King had just been shot and killed. And if you're not familiar with that speech, seek it out, listen to this speech. It is a powerful, powerful speech, a powerful message, something that still resonates to this day. Just incredible. So listen for that. It was probably around April, May of 68. And I guess it was April of 68.
Do they know about Martin Luther King?
We have left it up beyond belief that can be handled in good.
could you lower those signs, please? I have some very sad news for all of you, and that is that Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis, Tennessee. Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort. In this difficult day, in this difficult time for the United States, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in. What we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another, feeling of justice toward those who still suffer within our country, whether they be white or whether they be black. We can do well in this country. We will have difficult times. We've had difficult times in the past, but we will have difficult times in the future. It is not the end of violence. It is not the end of lawlessness, and it's not the end of disorder. But the vast majority of white people and the vast majority of black people in this country want to live together, want to improve the quality of our life, and want justice for all human beings that abide in our land. And what dedicate ourselves to what the Greeks wrote so many years ago, to tame the savageness of man and make gentle the life of this world. Let us dedicate ourselves to that and say a prayer for our country and for our people. Thank you very much.
Abraham, Martin, and John. Great song. Then we'll move to something a little bit different and a little bit newer. 1979 song by Billy Preston and Sarita. Sarita Wilson, I think her last name was. And this is With You, I'm Born Again. And usually, people mention Billy Preston right away. You're thinking of That's the Way God Planned It, or what's the other song he does? Oh, man. Here we go again with the senior moment. But you know what I'm talking about. But this song, I think, kind of gets forgotten in the mix of it all. But honestly, this is one of the most beautiful ballads, most beautiful duets ever. So I really enjoy this song. So if you're not familiar with it, take a listen. With You, I'm Born Again. Amazing performance by the two of them. Then a much more popular artist and song, Paul McCartney, Wings. Listen to What the Man Said. Of course, this is from the Red Rose Speedway album, I believe. And what can I say about it? Basically, it's a fantastic song. Joe English is on drums. You've got Dave Mason, I believe, on guitar. And then the star of this is it Tim Scott, who plays the saxophone on this? What an incredible performance! And actually, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was like the first take of the sax, and that's what they used. It was just done so well. So great song. Okay, and now we'll move to the Four Seasons, December 1963. But no, this was not actually released in 63. This was a hit in 75. Says it right there. But again, by 75, this was sort of a comeback for the Four Seasons, if you will. And it was on their album called Who Loves You. And this particular 45 is one of the back-to-back series. So it actually has on the other side, Who Loves You? So win-win. You get two great songs on 145. Two for the price of one, if you will. And of course, December 1963 was, in fact, a very good time for the Four Seasons because the Beatles wouldn't get big until 64. So 63 was still good for them. Sorry about that. And then the last one I'm going to show you is one I picked up recently. This is a 45 from 2021. The Blind Boys of Alabama. And this one features Bella Fleck on banjo, incredible banjo player. Song is called, sorry for the glare, I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free. And I had mentioned Martin Luther King earlier and his assassination. This song was actually written after that event. It was inspired, I guess, by the death of Martin Luther King. Nina Simone actually covered, and that was in, what did I say, 63 or something, right? So Nina Simone covered this in 67, 68 timeframe, and, made it more popular. Then in 2019, the Blind Boys of Alabama got a hold of this, and what a great performance they do, and what a great performance by Bella Fleck. Now, the Blind Boys of Alabama, they have been around since like 1940 or so with different members, but for the most part, the majority of the members are typically vision impaired. They don't view their blindness as, that disability as a handicap. It's a disability, but it's not a handicap. It's not going to, bring them down in any way. And honestly, some of the songs, early songs of the Blind Boys, are like songs like "I See Everybody's Mother Except My Own," and I can't see my mom, things like that. And but in any event, again, I'm getting a little distracted here. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. Absolutely incredible. And who else talks about the Blind Boys of Alabama? You'll only get that on this channel. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed those few 45s. And as I always say, stay well, friends. And remember, if the music strikes a chord, let it play.